Hola, mi gente. How are you? How are you? How are you this evening? Welcome to another episode of On the Block with Jen. You already know who I am. Do I have to tell you? Do I have to keep telling you? You may be new here. So hello, welcome. Welcome to all my new subbies too. I see a lot of you. A lot of you are jumping on board. I have to thank you and welcome you. I am Jen of On the Block with Jen. You can reach me on all social media platforms, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, On the Block with Jen at Gmail. If you want to connect with me over some business really quickly. Speaking of business, you guys maybe missed Block Talent Battle last Saturday. We're doing it again this Saturday, 8 p.m. sharp, okay? Right here on the block. We have a Block Talent Battle. People from all over New York, Vegas, Los Angeles, and Atlanta, they came up with us. They share with us their talent and they're competing for $100 cash. Okay. We give them 2 minutes. They perform. We judge. And then you guys decide who wins by throwing their name in the comments. Okay. The talent that has their name typed most in the comments wins the $100 cash prize. We already have a front runner from Saturday, and I think she's going to win. Unless, you know what I mean, the other contestants have friends and family that are going to run to the comments and throw their names in there. She is going to win. If you want to know who I'm talking about, you got to check out the last Block Talent Battle, which is on my wall, on my YouTube. Okay. So you have to look for Block Talent Battle Round 1. And you can see our last contestants there. But this weekend we'll have new contestants. And some people have been emailing me. So we're going to have some interesting talent this Saturday. Okay. 8 p.m. sharp Eastern. That's going to be every Saturday. We're going to do a Block Talent Battle, and I'll be posting little clips and stuff so you know what you're in for. Aside from that, if you want to support the show without a super chat, you guys, then throw it in my Cash App right there, scrolling on the bottom. There's Cash App on the block with Jen. Okay. They don't tax me there. They don't tax you there. So it's Cash App on the block with Jen. If you're catching the replay and you Cash App me when I'm not on air, God, that makes me feel special when I get a Cash App and I'm not even on air. So thank you. Again, that is where you can be discreet, because a lot of people don't like other people seeing where their money goes. So I thank you. Unless you want to shoot a note with your Cash App and say, Jen, let them know I'm sponsoring and helping your show, whatever. Send me a note. I will blast you. Otherwise, I'm not going to blast your name, okay? Unless you want me to. If you don't give a damn about where your money goes and people seeing it, feel free to Cash App me in the comments. We will throw your comment up on the screen. We had a great show yesterday. I have been following the story of Ralph Yarl, the 16-year-old boy who was shot by, what is it, Andrew Lester? Is it Andrew Lester? Is it Andrew? No saint, correct me if I'm wrong. I think it's Andrew Lester, who's already out on bond, okay? So let's get No Saint up here. Let's talk about teachers fighting students. Who's to blame? If you haven't seen the latest teacher fight that's gone viral, I got it for you. I will play it for you and we will discuss. Some people are blaming the teacher, some people are blaming the student, some people are blaming the parents, okay? So let's see who you guys are going to blame. Hello, No Saint.
Sorry.
I can't hear you.
Hello,
Oh,
good
hi.
evening.
Good evening. I thought it was me again. I was like, no. Last time I did that, I was so wrong. It wasn't Lily, it was me.
No, I had the mute on.
How are you this evening?
Oh, just hanging in there, another day at work.
Wah, wah, wah.
Right.
Well, you're here now. You're on the block now, okay? So No Saint. Pops bounded out. Pops meaning, what's his name? Is it Andrew
Yeah.
Lester? Andrew Lester is the man who shot Ralph Yarl on his porch because the boy knocked on the door, mistaken address, picking up his siblings, and Andrew Lester came out, bang, bang, shot him twice through the door. Finally surrendered, but bonded out $200K, right? $200,000 was his bail. And now he's probably back home. So, okay.
Was it that little? I mean, that much? I thought it was less than that. But
yeah, I heard it was $200K, but they only got to do 10%.
Oh, maybe that's what it is. And it was, and they were a little bit upset that he got out in, I don't know, 3 hours or something like that. But
yeah, they were upset. But if he had the bond, he had the bond, or if he had the money, he had the money.
But
that's
what we've learned since last night's show, which more and more will be revealed as time goes on, is we were all saying, well, we don't know what the situation was, and we don't want to assume, but at the same time, we all had our opinions. And of course,
Absolutely.
from what I heard today, it was a glass door, so you could see through it. And the second thing was that he basically said something like, don't ever come here, or something like that.
Right. Don't ever come around here again. Get off my porch.
And then bam, 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 bam,
Right.
And so the young man said that he didn't jiggle the handle.
Right.
So we all knew, and people get upset, but the lawyers are going to try to form a case that, gives a little bit of doubt into the story. And it's going to be a he said. But I think the burden of proof, the young man, I don't think did anything wrong. And I think that we'll see how this plays out. But yeah, that's the defense. The defense is he was scared, the handle was jiggled. But like I was saying last night, we were asking, did he look through the peek hole? Well, I think he saw the person, and then he actually had the mind to say something to him. So we'll see, but I think that he's in trouble.
See again, I'm that girl, man. I need all the evidence. When I hear glass door, is it glass from top to bottom? We've seen those doors. Is it glass only in a square? Is it glass only in a triangle? I need all the evidence, right? Also, right, was the light on, right? So it's like this is gonna be a battle of the wits and minds and law. You know what I mean? I'd love to be a fly on the wall in that courtroom, because this is gonna be a battle of attorneys, right? Also, the man's state of mind. He's 85 years old. We spoke about that yesterday. 85 years old. Of course, Ralph Y'all, the 16-year-old, did absolutely nothing wrong, right? We're just talking about with the burden of proof and what's going to happen in court. That is what we're talking about. Sometimes we discuss these things and people are like, are you saying he's justified? Right? I was discussing this on my Facebook, and a gentleman was like, are you saying the shooting was justified? I said, no, I'm saying exactly what I said in the post. That is what I said. But you can spin it how you deem fit. But a lot of that's going to come into play. His state of mind, his age, he's old. I can't see. I'm sure the charges are going to be lowered, not dropped, but lowered. And he's probably going to end up with an ankle bracelet in his house. You know what I mean? Deteriorating, dying away. I don't see this guy doing hard time. I know people are like, yeah, get him good. They want life in prison and the death penalty. And it sounds romantic. It sounds really romantic. But, the boy is alive. He is, thank goodness. He's alive. He's home. He's recovering. So there's gonna be a lot. There's gonna be a lot that's gonna go on in that courtroom, and I'm just saying, I do not think it's gonna be as cut and dry as people think or want it to be. It's just not. And I was saying on Facebook, you guys can get mad, but there still has to be a process. There still has to be a process. Haranza Marco, how are you, darling?
What's going on?
What is going on? Thank you for the super chat, Steve, and respect to you too, sir. Good to see you. So Haran, we were just going over briefly yesterday's show. We were talking about Andrew Lester, the shooter, Ralph Y'all, the 16-year-old victim out of Kansas City. And the new developments are the old man did surrender. He did bond out $200K, I believe the bail was, but we all know you only got to pay 10% of that shit. And Ralph is recovering at home with his mama. His mama is a nurse, so I'm sure he's getting lots of love and lots of care, to the tune of $2 million, bitches. Okay, his GoFundMe reached $2 million. Okay, and I'm sure it's even more than that. Last I checked, it was $2 million. Guarantee it's more than that, because all the celebrities are like, yeah, let's support, which is a beautiful thing, because the kid wanted to go to some school or college or something. So now he's fully funded for that. So that's a wonderful thing. It's unfortunate that he had to earn that money, almost losing his life and getting shot in the head. But, he got it anyway. So we can't look a gift horse in the mouth, or the bullet, I would say. And
I'll take a bullet. I'll take a bullet for $2 million, not in the head. I don't know if I walk away from that. That person could be a great shot. That person could be a great shot. You know what I mean? But I'll take a bullet for 2 million. Shit, I took a lot less for nothing.
This is true. This is true.
You know what I'm saying? Shit.
But I'm hearing people say that though. You're not the first. People are like, "I'll take a bullet for 2 million."
For 2 million, shit. Jane, look, listen. I'm just saying. If it was that one on the table, just hit me right here.
Just hit me right here. Just hit
me right here. You know what I'm saying? But it's but 10% for 200,000. 10% of that is what? 20K. So we had 20K just lying around.
Right.
Yeah, but remember, he's in a red state, and you know them Billy Bob stick together.
Oh yeah, yes they do. Yes they do. They probably had something in the old KKK fund.
What?
For just such occasions.
What? Donovan said it's over 3 million now. What?
Wow.
I definitely get shot over $3 million.
You're like, fuck it, shoot me where you want.
Word up. At least just make sure my daughter get it. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Oh my goodness. Hold on a minute. Hold on a ragged ass.
Yeah, they probably paid for his bail and gave him a free subscription to the shooting range.
$3 million. Donovan is correct. $3,071,080. Fuck.
Let me tell you something, man. Let me tell you something.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. Whether this motherfucker go to jail or not, you got $3 million, kid.
Well, I'm gonna say this:
$3 million fucking dollars. There's a lot of us who got shot at by the cops, who done got ass beat, and we ain't just hit.
The good news out of all of this is that I hear that he may be struggling with certain things, like he's not 100% cognitive wise, like
of course,
but that could improve. But the real good news is that good news is he's not dead. I don't know what the charges. I don't know what the old man's gonna get for the charges, but the good news.
Hey, mama.
The good news about this is, as we all know, there's also a civil lawsuit that's coming. That's coming, and it's the civil lawsuit. You only have to do it by the preponderance of the evidence. Is that what they say?
What are they gonna get? What are they gonna get from that old man?
Oh, but the homeowners insurance.
Okay.
Well, the
homeowners insurance.
The civil lawsuits, in a way, let's just call it what it is. They're the consolation prizes of the law. You know what I mean? Mm. It's like, you didn't beat them this way, John. Let's see if we can get him on this. You know what I mean?
Right.
You know what I mean? And they try to milk whatever they can out of you. You know what I mean? And I remember they tried to get OJ on that, and then OJ was like, yeah, they did get him, but he didn't have any money, right?
He's hiding it. Yeah.
He didn't have any money, right? So
and they can't go after your pension. They can't go after your pension. Yeah.
Shit, $3 million fucking dollars, man.
Jen,
we're rich, bitch.
You stuck on that too, right, Jen? Even I'm like,
listen, his
gonna
family
make a real dark joke right now, but I'm not gonna make it.
His family are now millionaires.
Yeah, they are.
In a couple days.
He's
like, who? That's my money.
Right?
No. He gonna come out and be like, no, mama, we ain't rich. I'm rich.
I'll give you a loan.
That innocent little musician, trust me, that's his mama money till she say otherwise. Okay, that's his mama money till she say otherwise. Okay.
Well, technically, he's 16 years old, so technically, that is his mother's money.
It's got to be a trust set up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that is his mother's money too. He's still a minor. Man, shit, man.
Okay, I see some devil's advocacy in the chat, and I want to pull it up. Okay, let's pull up some devil's advocacy because I was thinking of the same thing. Put my horns on. Why was the kid out at 10 o'clock at night driving around with no phone? His parents were negligent.
God dang, that's a new generation excuse.
That's a reach. It's a reach. It's a
Because I
reach.
was, hey, I
Is
was out
it
a
a
lot
reach?
later. I was
That's
out
a
a lot
reach.
later, and we
A
didn't have cell
reach.
phones.
Come on.
Well,
Come on. It's a
okay,
reach.
then I'm all
It's a
right. Well,
reach.
okay, I'll say this: it's not a reach from me in my point of view. So
Okay.
maybe I'm too mother hen. Maybe I'm overprotective, but I'm around here in Nevada, and I see kids that look like as young as 8, 9, 10 years old walking by themselves or picking their siblings up, and I'm thinking, who would send their son out 8, 9, 10 years old to pick up their siblings in this day and age where they're kidnapping kids, molesting kids? Like, who does that? When I see them in the street, like, my heart goes out to them, and I'm looking around making sure nobody's looking at them funny. So I don't know, 16 years old, this boy is innocent. Now, New York 16 is different, Haran. You think it's 16 in New York.
Yeah. Okay. That's a fair statement.
At
I'm not
16,
thinking of.
at
I'm not
16,
thinking of
I'm
16 and who gives a shit Nebraska. I'm not thinking of
right.
that's a different 16.
At
I'm thinking
16, I'm on the Greyhound with an ounce,
absolutely,
daring somebody to
Well,
talk to
see,
me.
absolutely.
but
No,
see,
no,
Jen,
absolutely. Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
that's what I'm saying though. We grew up in a different time, and that's why I said that comment had to come from somebody much younger than me because I was out. I was out late,
You know
especially
what's really
summertime.
fucked up? You know what's really
Especially
fucked up? They had to
Mhm.
have some shit. They had to have some shit late at night to remind parents, even ask parents, like, "Hey, do you even know if your kid's in the house?
Yes.
Do
Do
you?"
you know where your children are? Come on.
if I wanted to make a call, I had to run to the payphone and stick a stick a quarter.
Yeah, like there's so many provisions now in place to make sure that kids are safe. There's cameras, there's cell phones, there's things like
Right.
if your kid was in trouble, like if there wasn't a payphone around, your kid was most likely fucked.
Yeah. But just some devil's advocacy. We just asking all the questions like they're gonna do in court. The ju- the
Right,
jur the
right.
jurors the jurors are gonna have these questions as well. So thank you for that question. As God, yeah, I mean, they're gonna ask all kinds of questions. But poor baby in a car, 16 years old, no phone. Like I'd be freaking paranoid. Uh, why were the kids being picked up so late on a school night? That's another thing.
Well,
What is that the relevancy? Where is that
first,
relevant? How is that relevant?
well, no, I want to say something though. I
Hmm.
believe, I don't know what this happened last week, right? So my kids were still on their spring break.
Hmm.
Um, I think that's kind of countrywide. It was right after Easter, so they might have been off. They
Okay.
might have been in school. I mean, I don't
Okay.
know. I
Oh
don't
yeah,
know.
isn't school out now? Some shit like
It
that.
was last week, first
Yeah,
week of
yeah.
May.
My kid's out of school. Yeah. I just realized that. I don't know what's going on now. I'm so terrible with that. Like I don't. I'm thinking
Yeah.
kids are always in school. Well, they should be. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
They should be because these
Yeah.
motherfuckers, their scores are terrible. These motherfuckers should always be in fucking school. But anyway, that's another
Right.
another topic.
Yeah. So I just, I mean, going back to what you said, Haram, maybe there's no relevancy, but as a juror, I want to know.
See, Jen, you're that juror.
I am.
You're
Oh,
that juror. I
buddy.
can already tell. I can
Oh,
already
buddy.
tell. You're that juror.
I will hang this whole bitch.
That
Y'all better answer
Everybody's
all
ready
my
to go
questions.
home.
I already know that you and me on the jury, we'll be fucking arguing. Like, how is that relevant?
Listen,
Like, what are you talking about?
just for the record, okay, I do jury focus groups,
Me
and
too.
I was the foreman a couple times. Okay,
I can imagine.
I'm just gonna leave it at that. A couple
I
times
can
they was like, just
imagine.
give it to her, because I asked the questions that need to be asked. Other people are just there like, are we done yet? I'm like, no, we need to find out. There's
Most of
someone's
them, are we
life
done
is
yet?
on the line,
Most
right?
of them
It's like,
are we done yet?
let's get to the bottom of this, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that's just another question, but we can joke and play. But he's fine. He's home. He's recovering. He's worth $3 million now.
That's
That's
what I
not.
really care about. If the kid's going to be okay, is
He's
he
gonna be okay.
cognizant? Is he? You know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, whatever happens, happens. It is what it is. You know what I mean? But I just need the little guy to be okay. He's 16 years old, man. The
Hmm.
fuck? You know what I mean? And you can tell he's a 16-year-old. He's a 16-year-old nerdy kid. He's a
Yeah,
good kid. He shouldn't be around shit like this. He's
he
not a
should
16.
not.
He's not like a 16-year-old animal where I would be like, yeah, eventually it's what happened anyway.
No,
It
just a
wasn't a
baby.
situation like that. Yeah, he's like it's a kid. You know what I mean? So it's like, come on.
He's just a baby. I'm just saying. Listen, I take issue with when people have multiple children. First of all, I am anti having multiple children.
Really?
Okay, this is why, because unless you are in a position where you can take care of them financially, it's not a struggle. But if you notice, people with multiple children, it's always a fucking struggle. It's a burden. It's a burden on the fucking family. It's a fucking
Well,
burden. You are volunteering for a fucking burden. It's literally like you going out and it's like, hey, can I buy that burden? Sure, here you go. It's a fucking burden. And what
well,
happens, and wait, let me finish. And what happens with the older sibling? They
he has to take
become,
care of the other
they be,
parent. They have to
thank
become the
you.
other
So
parent.
you
They have to become
have,
the other parent.
check this out, because I heard the boy's dad is also talking about he wants justice. Of course, everybody wants justice. So you have a mommy and a daddy. They decided together to have 3 of these. Okay, it wasn't Ralph's decision to have 3 of these. It was mommy's and daddy's decision to have 3 of these, right? So mommy and daddy, now they have to work their asses off to take care of 3 of these. So they can't pick up these 2. So what do? They send Ralph to get the other 2 because there's 3 of these. There's 3 of these. Why wasn't the mother or the father picking up those little boys at 10 o'clock at night?
Because they were working.
That's and why were they working?
Because
Why
there's
did
3 kids. There's 3 kids. But again, not relevant. You're bringing their parenting into the mix. It's just like who are you for right now? You're giving the
that's it?
defendant.
I mean, is that
Listen,
what they found out?
if I was the listen, defense attorney,
You're giving the
defense attorney, I'm making everybody on that side a demon.
Oh
Everybody.
my God!
It is your fault, this child. Okay, you put this child in harm's way, and you blaming this old guy. Look at this old guy, scared in his home at 10 o'clock at night. He can't see out one eye. He's alone. No one has visited him in 5 years. It was dark outside. It was dark outside. Okay, he just took his paranoia medicine. Now, of course, on the prosecution side, then that's a different argument. I'd paint him. Hey, look he has Confederate flag cups in his cabinet. Okay, what do you expect? He's a racist. He's a longtime racist. But both sides are going to be argued.
But look, listen. I'm the other guy on the jury.
Okay,
I'm that other guy. The guy that says, I don't know. Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, he's old. Yeah. He was probably scared, but he's all those things now. I think he deserves it. I can see this guy maybe 20, 30 years ago. He was stringing up some niggas. You know what I mean? And got away with it. He deserved it.
Or at least or at the very least in the crowd, like
exactly.
At the very least.
Exactly.
Or driving people.
Exactly. This could have been Karma, man. I don't know.
I know a guy that is no saint. I know a guy that is. Okay, I've seen the pictures. I've seen the pictures.
I don't know. I don't buy the defenseless, scared old white man. You know what I mean? Narrative. I don't know. He looks like he couldn't wait to enlist. You know what I mean? In the war, he's got that evil shit still in his eye, man. You know what I mean? He may not be capable, but he still looks like.
You know, and this is a little thing, but again, as a juror, if I'm sending your ass away, I'm meticulous. I am meticulous, and what got me. And this is the thing that also would have played a factor to me. And some people may think it's petty, but his hair was dyed black, right? I think an old person that lets themselves go and they're like, I know I'm close to death, I don't give a fuck, ain't gonna be in the bathroom like, You understand? That would have, even though it's a small thing, it would have played a factor for me. I'm like, okay, he has his faculties to know he doesn't want to look like an old person. He's still got some, you know what I mean? He's still got some oomph to him. He's not
Yes.
exactly grandpa in the gray hair.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And you know what also says? You know what it also says?
It's little, but I'd write it down.
You know what it also means? Defiance.
Ah,
Defiance.
there you go.
You're defiant. You choose not to deal with change. Choose not to deal with change. So here we have here's a scenario of change. A young black man who is freely walking through your town and had the audacity to freely ring your doorbell without a hint of fear in his heart.
Mm-hmm.
And you couldn't deal with that kind of change, right? And you just transported back to, I don't know, the 1960s or 65, you know what I mean? Where, you know, they
or
had,
1975 or 1975 or 1985 or 85.
Yeah, just pick one. Just pick one.
95, maybe.
The guy's at 100. Yeah, just pick a decade. You know what I mean? And he was transported back. And yes, one could still say that arrogant, vile, evil spirit still lives in that man. I can still see it.
Thank you for the super chat, baby daddy. I'm about to make Donovan my baby daddy. I think he deserves it. What you think?
Okay. Hey man, just as long as you cooking for me, I don't give a fuck who you fucking with.
Yo, you in the cooking thing, I swear.
Yo, look, listen. I keep telling you, I still eat like a jail nigga sometimes. And I need somebody to take care of me.
Another thing I would like to know. I would like to know size.
Size of what?
Height, weight. Of the old man and the little boy. I would like to know size, weight.
What is this relevant to?
Fear.
Okay, here's where things get a little sticky. Okay. Mm-hmm. So you're saying, say if a guy like me was at the door, mm-hmm. Would he be well within his right to shot through the fucking door?
We can't say well within his right. Reasonable doubt is what we're trying to do.
But can we say that him being afraid is not beyond the idea of it actually happened? That he probably was afraid.
Abso-fucking-lutely. Oh, wait a minute. I have no doubt that man wasn't afraid. See, people are trying to paint it as he automatically popped the kid because the kid was black and that's it. That's the only factor. But mm-hmm. I think that it was fear-based.
Okay.
I think it was fear-based because, you know what I mean? All our lives we hear that black people, big, scary, you know what I mean? So I'm sure
this young gentleman was not. I mean, this kid looks like he's like a good, Jen, you look heavier than him. I mean, let's just call it what it is.
Right. So here's the thing that I find interesting. I don't know the size of the old man, right? Okay. But what I find interesting was his aunt said they trying to make him out to be a big kid. He's not even 170. He's not even 170 pounds. I found that number interesting. Why did she say 170 pounds? There's a lot of weight under 170 pounds. I'm a $115.
Okay.
So why did she choose? He's not even 170 pounds. So is he 165? I don't know. But that's why I want to know.
The height has to really come in because he could be 175, 5'10" is not 175, 6'2".
Correct.
It's not the same. It's not the same shit. You
Correct.
know what I mean? So the height, you really need to know the height to really determine what's going on. Now, if the white man was like 6'1", say if the white man was like maybe 6'1", 6'2", and that kid was like maybe 5'9", 5'10". Mm-hmm. What is your take on that?
I think it's going to be a factor in court because you're going to have a jury sitting there, right? You're going to have a jury sitting there. And, if this man, and again, I don't know visually, but if this old man walks in and he's like this, a little tiny old thing, barely, one of his eyes is fucked up, by the way. If he lets his hair grow out gray.
They're going to make sure he died fucking disappears.
Yeah, I mean, they're gonna put a big suit on him that doesn't fit. You know what I mean? That's what I would do if I was his attorney. I don't play to lose. Okay.
Buy him
I
a
learned
hearing
that.
aid,
Listen.
even if he doesn't need one. Buy him a
Yeah.
hearing aid, even if he don't need one.
Shit,
Yeah.
I learned that from my attorney. One time I went to court. I'm walking in with my pink suit, and he was like, "What the fuck are you wearing, Jen?" And I was like, "No, it's not." He was like, "Why are you wearing pink? Like, you make my job harder." And I was like, "Excuse me." I'm like, but anyway, I got off for that. But I'm just saying, I was like, I want to do my pink, and he was like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, anyway, so I would play that up. This kid, he's a beautiful boy. He looks healthy, right? Is he tall? Right? Is that going to play on the jury's mind? Like, look at this little old frail man. Of course he was scared. 10 o'clock at night. Look at that boy. Right? Again, we're in Kansas. We're not in New York. We're in Kansas. And in Kansas, white people going to be on a jury who are already afraid, right, of the niggers.
Look, listen. Kansas City is in Missouri, and let me tell you something. Since I've moved to Missouri, I was reminded that there are a lot of poor white motherfuckers in America.
Shit, come to Nevada.
You know what I mean? There are a lot. I mean, poor white trash motherfuckers. Okay,
Yo,
in Missouri.
listen, living
Mountain
in
Dew
Nevada.
drinking. I didn't know they drink Mountain Dew like we drink grape soda, though, Jen. I didn't know they did.
That's
they did
West
that.
Virginia drink there, though. That's West Virginia.
I didn't know that was a thing, because I saw a couple of them that were working on a house, and they were like Mountain Dew cans all over the place. I'm like, what the fuck is this, like grape soda for us? And that shit is nasty.
That's just weird. That's like,
it glows in the fucking dark. Mountain Dew glows.
yeah,
Who drinks
be,
this?
That's definitely like, that's more like, I don't know. I've always heard, like, I know there's an epidemic, like in West Virginia, of Mountain Dew, where people's teeth are rotten because they're drinking.
The ingredients.
They put it in babies' bottles and give it to the baby. I'm telling you, it's white trash. It's the white trash.
Yeah, their teeth were fucked up and shit like that. And then here's the thing, like, this is the difference. Like, when you I mean, during the 80s or whatever, we grew up around, poor white folks. But after a while, when we grew older, New York became, everyone was, well off. I wouldn't say well off, but there weren't a lot of poor white trash motherfuckers. When I came over here, I was reintroduced to the shit. I'm like, yo, yeah, there are a lot of poor white people.
No, in Nevada, they're all white. In Nevada, they got this thing out here called the tunnels, and they all live in the tunnels. I had never seen a huge population of white homeless people, meth heads, because I always lived in New York. So in New York, they're all races, shapes, and colors, and weight. No, out here, they're all, the homeless population, I would say, is 99.9% white. And there are a lot of programs that like go into the tunnels to like get them food and stuff like that. But it's a fucking scary, there's some scary, creepy shit out here. And sometimes, you know how like when it floods and the water goes in those, I don't know what you call them shit. I'm sure you don't know, Saint, but they go like, they make these things so it's like the water could go, and then you see the water just brings out all the like the garbage and their clothes and stuff like that. Yeah, it's crazy out here. It's like I was like, wow, I've never seen.
You know what it shows you? It showed me that the world, much of America, is very red. It's not really blue. You know what I mean? A lot of America is very red. It's like maybe like here, maybe a little bit up here is blue, and then there's everything else, and then there's everything else. Those are the guys that usually swing the votes. You know what I'm saying?
Right. It's not the sewer, Don. It's not the sewer.
You're talking about like manholes and stuff, like the drainage.
It's like it looks like a little tunnel. Like you you could walk down there. Like it's not the sewer. It's not like underground. It's just lower than the buildings.
Yeah,
so
we have a lot of those here too.
The water could go. Yeah. So I mean, we'll see what happens, but I just think, there's going to be good cause for, the man was scared, 10 o'clock at night. He said he was laying on his couch, right? Probably half asleep.
And
Somebody's not.
Missouri is very segregated. Missouri is very segregated. I mean, it's not like a thing with like New York, where when I was in New York, you have to really go far out to maybe see another cluster of a particular race. Like, nah, man, you just got to go like maybe a couple of blocks. Then all of a sudden, the buildings change, the list
And I,
changes. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
and I
All that
just
shit.
think, and this is going to be controversial what I'm about to say, but I just
What
think
is it?
like Don, shush, not septic tanks. I don't know what I'm talking. No saying that. You know what I'm talking about. No saying.
Yeah,
I know
it's like
what
a
you're talking
canal.
about.
It's like a. I know what you're saying. I know what
Yeah,
you're
it's
talking
like
That
a
ditch
low.
kind of shit. Yeah, I know what you're
Yes, you
talking
could
about.
run
Yeah,
through
yeah,
there and
yeah. I know what you're
shit.
talking about.
But I wouldn't recommend it in Nevada because they down there. I saw
God damn, man. You got that fear look in your eyes. I've never seen you
them.
so
I
Yeah.
afraid.
was I was shocked to
I
find
ain't
out.
fucking with no meth
I was
heads.
shocked to find out you can get delivery down there. That's pretty.
Yo, meth heads are the closest to zombies you'll ever see in your life, man.
Right. No,
They
I forgot the
literally are.
name
They
of
literally
the
are.
there's a nonprofit out here, a charity, and they specifically go into the tunnels to take food and stuff like that. And they even made it to freaking I was watching those intervention shows on like Bravo or that those channels, and they did the whole Vegas thing, and I was like, oh, those are the people from the tunnels. I saw, so it's like, by the way, this is random. This is random, but if you want to help homeless people on top of all the stuff they need, food and water and shit like that, no one ever thinks of socks. I do sock drives. They need socks. No one ever gets socks for homeless people, but it's very important that they change their socks. There's a big
Mm-hmm.
need for socks. If you didn't know that and you want to help homeless people, get them socks. Okay. Um,
Is there other needs other than money and a job? Like,
toiletries,
okay, okay.
like
That would
feminine
make sense.
products for women,
That would
um,
make sense.
stuff like
Plus,
that. And if you go like to like Walmart or whatever, you'll see like the Tampax boxes like ripped open. And before I used to wonder like who the fuck would come to Walmart and steal a tampon? But then and when I was working with the nonprofit, I was like, oh, you don't think about it, but it's like they need what I mean, toiletries and soaps and toothbrushes and shit like
Hmm.
that. But socks. Right. Because there's
Makes
places
sense.
that they can find clothes, secondhand clothes. A lot of people donate clothes, but nobody donates socks because you're not going to donate secondhand socks. No one donates socks. So get them socks. Okay. Yeah, random, I know, but just weird, just came to my mind. So we'll see what happens. But again, we can wrap on he's good, he's gonna be good. And maybe by tomorrow it'll be 4 million. Uh, oh my God. Listen, Don said, I hate seeing homeless women. And JB said, take one in. What's up, POV? Um,
I do feel it for homeless women because it's just like I mean when you're a homeless man, I mean a homeless period, but when you're a homeless man, especially if you're built a certain way, you can take care of yourself to some certain degree. You know what I
I
mean?
just don't know how,
A
I
woman
mean,
was like, ugh.
perish the thought of being homeless and being on your cycle. Perish that. I listen.
Mm-mm-mm.
Okay.
Well, there goes my Gatorade.
Gatorade.
after after that thought has been injected in my head.
Heavy flow.
Oh my goodness, no. Let me tell you, menopause, come on, mama. I'm waiting. Let's
Oh,
get it. Let's
look,
get
listen. If whenever you do go through the change,
it.
don't
The
don't
change.
call me. Don't call me, man.
What you mean don't call you? Why
Don't
not?
call me. Man. Nah, don't call me.
Why not?
You're gonna be real. Just you might be real. Like, look, I'll tell y'all a quick story.
Hmm.
Back in the days, of course, you know what I mean. When my mother was going through the change, I came into the house. You know what I'm saying? I think I was cooking something on the stove,
Mhm.
and this woman came in there storming, yelling, like, "How could you do something so horrible as turn up the heat and it's sweating in here and it's so hot? Why are you so vicious? Why are you such an animal of a person?" I'm like,
An animal of a person.
I'm just like
No,
okay,
I
you know what I
actually
mean?
think
And then
no,
I
but
realized that she explained to me that she was going through what she was going through, and I didn't know I was a fucking kid. You know what I
I'm
mean? You know,
I'm weird though.
that
I'm weird. I'm weird where I go through shit and I don't go through it like the rest of the population does.
okay.
I just don't like I think I'm going through it now, hopefully. I don't know. Because every time I go to a G1, she was like, well, have you been spotting? Because if you are, then we gotta start all over again and count. I'm like, no, it's now. And it's funny because my doctor was like, you know how they treat you with care and they're like, no, maybe it's not, maybe it's not that. I'm like, motherfucker, I want it to be that. I want to plan vacations. I want to have spontaneous. I never want to see another tampon and get it. He was like, okay. I was like, no, I want it. I
Well,
want it. Right. Where
well,
most women are like, no, that means I'm getting older. I want it. I want it gone. I never want to see it again. I want the menopause shit. Whatever it is, give it to me. But a lot of women, I don't know. Like, again, I don't go through shit like
well,
norm,
Jay, well,
normal
Jay,
people do.
like, well, Jay, like I told you, man. I keep telling these dudes the cheat code out here is to skeet up in older women, man. That's the cheat code, nigga.
Is it, you
That's
animal? That lady was right. JV says hot flashes are just evil. Yeah, man, weird shit that we go through. But I'm looking forward to it. I think I'm there now, but my doctor's like, no, wait another day. I was like, I'm there now. Shut up. I was
I
I
don't
was
know,
I
man.
was so
Some women are
desperate.
late. Some women are late.
Listen, I was so desperate to not see my cycle again that I asked the doctor, could they do like a hysterectomy or a partial hysterectomy? He was like, we don't just cut people open. Like, what do you? I was like, I don't want it. I don't need it. I don't need it. Get rid of it. I'm never going to have children. You know what I mean? I'm done on the children. And my doctor was like, what do you do? We don't just cut people open because they don't want their cycle. And I was like, but it's funny because even the dentist, when I was younger, I had all my wisdom teeth taken out. You know why? Because I just didn't want to reach back there with my toothbrush. That's it. They weren't hurting. I went to the dentist and I was like, oh my God, like it's like, oh my God, it's so, yeah. And they pulled all four of them motherfuckers out. Two on the right first and then two on the left. But I'm that person. Like if something is bothering me, I'm like, get it out. Take it out.
That's how I am too, to a certain extent.
See?
Yeah.
See?
Like when
I'm
went
the
from,
person.
I had a little bit of a herniated disc, and
Mm-hmm.
I just noticed, like, when I was sitting like in the car, sometimes my foot would go numb. So it wasn't painful or anything. And they did all the video, they did all the ultrasound, all the scans and everything, and showed me the picture of it. And he's like, but he's asking me, like, from 1 to 10, what do you say you're paying? I'm like,
You like 10.
I'm like, I don't know, 3. I was talking like a 3 because like I could barely even feel like it's how it runs down your leg, but it would go like into my butt cheek a little bit sometimes where you'd feel a little pain.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, wow. He said, because it's pretty big. He's like, so I mean, we can treat this 2 different ways. We can either give you drugs or we can do the operation. I was thinking to myself, do the operation. Let's get this done.
Yeah. See, I'm that
Yeah.
I'm that girl too. I'm like, come on, chop chop.
I'll never get a vasectomy. I'll never get a vasectomy.
Yeah.
And it's not a macho thing. It's not a macho thing.
It is though.
No, it's not.
Around
It's
it
not.
is
You know what
though.
it is?
It's not a big deal.
Okay, all right. It's maybe like 20% macho. But
It's a
listen,
macho thing.
there's another area, there's another element involved in this. I just will just think, like, what if I had just had rotten luck that day and they just snipped something wrong and then my fucking dick is like for the rest of my fucking life or some shit like that. Like, nah, man. Like,
I got pumps.
I'm not going to sit here and
Oh,
like pump up my fucking slong.
JV said, I
Anytime I
lost
want to
my
have sex.
thyroid and my female parts a year apart. It's been a nightmare. Oh my God. Sorry to hear that, doll. Shit.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. I'm just like, yeah. But it goes to
Wow.
show, and people be like, nah, that's a lie. It goes to show, like, when you're a woman or a man that doesn't worry about the shit that you're constantly being bombarded with, like, it really does bypass you. Like, people are like, oh, well, do you think about this? Do you worry about that? I don't fucking think about aging. I don't fucking think about menopause. I don't fucking think. I'm in a gym 3 times a week. I'm trying to stay as stress-free as fucking possible. If you stress me, you are fucking gone. Right? This is how I live my life. But I think there's so much pressure and burden put on women, and they soak it all up like dumb bitches, to be quite honest. Sorry. They soak it all up. Like, we're constantly fed these commercials, right? Your wrinkles, fine lines, wrinkles, get rid of fine lines and wrinkles. They don't market to men like that. They don't market to men like that. You want to get rid of those fine lines and wrinkles and those dark circles, man. I'm like, I don't give a fuck. But women are constantly being bombarded. All these celebrities are coming out with anti-wrinkle, stay young, fuck y'all. Because I can find somebody in every fucking single age bracket. The fuck if I so choose?
You're absolutely right. For guys, they just like when you turn 18, they like you get bombarded with army fucking advertisements like, "Hey, you're 18 now. Want to die?" You know what I mean? Like shit like that. But there's other things that men have to deal with.
Look at this fool. Look at this
I
fool.
will never get a vaccine.
Look at this. He wants to get cut. Like, he did good for the past like week not getting cut. Now he wants to
I
get cut.
mean,
POP says, Jen, what do you have? A Gucci cup, very opulent. No, honey, I got a dollar store. Okay.
dreaming.
This is a dollar store sippy cup.
The motherland.
From the motherland. It says dream, inspire, and lead. I would not have nobody's damn Gucci cup. Yeah. From the dollar store. And I should have got 2 when this one starts getting old.
Why would anybody get a fucking Gucci cup? I mean, I'm sure there's something out there, but like that. But like,
right.
Christ,
all these idiots. I mean, if it has Gucci on it, they'll buy a pen that says Gucci. I got the Gucci pen. People are idiotic. Yeah, but we're all getting older. It's a beautiful thing. So many people didn't make it. You know what I mean? There are kids out there dying. I embrace it. I love it. Can't nobody give me, you can hit the wall. I'm like, you're at the wall, bitch. Like, I'm good. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, and I don't know why women just soak in the shit that, I don't know.
There's just a lot of there. I will say this though. I think that there's way too much emphasis on, to your point, Jen.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of these genders, you know what I mean, they just follow too much propaganda, whether it's men or women. We both do it, you know what I mean, and we just don't sit down and nest in our own selves and follow our own things and what we want to do. Like, I can say that for you do follow the life that you want to live for yourself, and I applaud you for that.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm not, life's too fucking short. Like, I'm not joining the circus. I do shit my own fucking way. I don't worry about a lot. Try not to worry about a lot. This guy was hitting me up today. He was like, you got to be a vegan. You're doing something. I'm like, if you saw my cabinet, you'd probably run. Okay, the shit I have in my cabinet, you would think some 16-year-old lives here. The fuck eats chocolate? Yeah. All right, so let's get into this. Teachers fighting students. Who's to blame? There's one particular video that's gone viral, a substitute teacher fighting with their student. But this is like the third one I see. I saw a lady who quit, a bus driver who freaking quit because the kids on the bus were acting up and she was cursing them out and the kids were giggling and recording her. Then there was another teacher who walked out of a class because the kids were acting up. And then we saw right before that, there was another teacher-student fight. And the woman, I thought it was just like a little, a little melee. Her ankle's broken, the teacher. The ankle's broken, the hip is messed up. So that was a really bad fight. It didn't look bad in the video, but her injuries were pretty extensive. I was like, holy fuck, So these fights with these teachers versus students are getting more and more common. I see a lot less respect in these classrooms. All the kids now have a phone in class. So it seems like, along with everything else that's crumbling in our society, along with everything else, and China getting us with TikTok, whatever, it seems like schools are becoming almost obsolete. The way the system should be. I'm not talking about people that got their kids in private schools and blah blah. We're in college. We're going to be doctors. I'm talking about just in general, collectively, and it's not exclusive to like the hood schools. Right? The lady that walked off the bus was white and the kids were white. The other lady that walked out the classroom was white and them kids were white. So this is not a disenfranchised city. This is happening in the hood type thing. It's happening all across, where kids are no longer taking school teachers seriously because they got to get back to their TikTok. They got to get back to their Instagram. So I'm going to play this video and we'll dissect. Try to avert your eyes from the booty, but that booty was banging. Okay, so the booty was banging.
I mean, if you get locked up, I got a little something.
You're a mess. You're a mess. Hot, piping mess. So listen to this. Pay attention. Pon ojo. Open up your ears and your eyes so I don't got to replay this shit. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Why does the rules not apply to everybody else? That's my phone. No, you did not keep nobody else's phone. And you finna give me my shit. Don't touch me. That's on my mom. Don't touch me. Girl, don't touch me. Girl, don't touch me. Who knows?
Get a t-shirt.
Fuck you. Somebody get a fucking teacher. Get a fucking teacher. Get a fucking teacher. Get a fucking teacher. Get a teacher. Get a teacher. Somebody get a teacher. I don't give a fuck. Get out. Get a teacher. 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 Y'all just go sit here and watch. Get a teacher. What is wrong with y'all?
Intense. Now I will say, my first reaction was, whoop that trick! That was my first reaction because I get emotional about people that are just trying to fucking go to work and make a living. I get emotional about that. I don't care if you're the waiter, the guy at the freaking window at McDonald's, the teacher, just someone who just fucking gets up every day and says, I have to work so I can eat and pay these bills. It pisses me off that this woman would have to go to a school and deal with some fucking little hood rat, right? And she just wanted to go to work so she can get paid, right? So that was my initial reaction. Okay. And then I calmed down and we got to dissect this. Now, why didn't she have any drawers on? What was she wearing? Who goes to teach students like that? What is happening? Are we like at Magic City? Did she come from her night job straight to the day job? Like, what is going on? Is there no dress code? I mean, mama looks great. You know what I'm saying? But why is your ass out? A freaking breeze could blow and the students, are privy to that ass.
I mean, she probably had a date afterwards. I don't know, man. She probably, she probably wanted to be courteous to the gentleman that she was going to be seeing after work. That's all it was.
Courteous.
She's, a little professional courtesy. So,
okay.
It is what it is.
So,
but I will say,
I do believe. I do believe. No, someone said, "Why didn't she have panties on?" I think she had a thong on and probably small pants. I doubt she was like pantyless. I think it was just a thong or
No,
like,
her ass is just so fucking big. You just can't really see. You can barely see the thong. I assume.
yeah, I'm
You know
sure
what I
she had
mean?
panties on.
But all jokes aside, um, here's the thing when it comes to education. Education has become a glorified babysitting network
Mm.
where these parents they just basically go out into the world, they do whatever they need to do to gain money to survive. They drop their kids off. Like, do you know what your child is consuming in these schools? You
Mm.
ask them. So many of you parents are against homework. You're against homework. Why are you against homework? Okay, we don't give them homework, but they're still not retaining information. Why are they not retaining information? Well, maybe we're trying to help them maintain, retain information, but they're on their cell phones too many, for too long. Maybe that's why we're taking them, because we're trying to help them retain the information that they should. See, here's the problem with America right now. Here's the problem. You can't really say everybody just wants to be nice to each other. You can't really say and bring to the table the cold hard facts and the cold hard truth. Our children are stupid. Like we're like way behind so many areas of the world when it comes to math, when it comes to education, when it comes to when it comes to reading, when it comes to all these things. We have grown adults walking around who are functionally illiterate. Now, I'm not saying that they can't read. You can read, but that is completely different from being able to read something, process it efficiently, and be able to explain what you just read, to comprehend what you just read. So we see it all the time where people are like, I don't understand why all these motherfuckers on social media, why they don't understand. Because these people, so many of us can't comprehend what we're reading. You know what I mean? There's a problem with reading comprehension. There's a problem with math. There's a problem with all these things, and you can't be hard on people. You know what I mean? Everybody wants to skate. No, you can't do this because if you're too hard on them, they're going to have a nervous breakdown and so on and so forth. So what do you do? My question. What do you do?
So I'm gonna push back just a tad, just a
But
tad. As far as education, like before we get into the fight, before we get
Mhm.
into the fight, as far as education, if there's one thing that social media has showed me, okay, when I post something, I literally have to put a disclaimer. I promise you, I did it today. If you do not have reading comprehension, I literally said verbatim, stay the fuck off of this post. I want to talk to thinkers today. And everybody was laughing at me. But I literally, after I did my post, I did little asterisks. And on the bottom, I said, if you do not have reading comprehension, stay the fuck off of this post. Because it is literally like speaking to special ed students, and these people are in their 40s and 50s. That is my demographic on Facebook. So when we talk about, well, these kids today can't read and they don't comprehend, and what, so do these motherfuckers who are in their 40s and 50s. So if the school system is bad, it's been bad for decades.
oh no, that's what I was basically
Or
saying. That
are
was that was I was
people,
basically saying.
or is there a standard in school that the majority of humanity just can't live up to? I mean, can we think about that? I mean, everybody goes to school, it's like a little conveyor belts, some say the pipeline to jail, because jail is the same way, same colors, same staircases, same lineup, everybody dress up the same way, eat the same shit, child time, you know what I mean? Schools are very similar to prison, right? Whether you believe or not about the pipeline into prison. But is it just a thing where, again, I always say you're taking masses of human beings and thinking that one system works? It's just like marriage. You're taking masses of human beings and thinking that this tradition works for everybody, and everybody's so different. Yet you're stuffing 30 kids in the room, teaching them all the same shit and expecting the same result. To me, as a form of fucking insanity. You have 30 different people in there. I quit school. I hated it. I loathe fucking school. I
Why?
fucking loathe. I hated the rigmarole. I hated the schedule. I hated the teachers. It was very, very rare that I found a teacher interesting, right? And I was weird to where it's like I would cut most of my classes, but then I would never skip the classes where I enjoyed the teacher. So it wasn't just like, oh, I'm a dropout and I hate school in general. It's like, you're boring. I hate you. I don't know what the fuck that is. You have a better. And it was like, no, I can't skip these two teachers. I love the way these teachers teach. And it was usually the teachers that had unorthodox ways of teaching. Right?
Okay.
I could not sit there and listen to a history teacher speak in a very monotone voice and read things out of the book. And you read chapter 2 and 3 when you go home. Like I hated school. I hated the 9 to 5, 8. I never liked it. And once I would say to like the 8th or 9th grade, I was like, I'm good. Like I'm good. I'm like past this. I'm like, I'm good. There's nothing unless you want to go into a specific field. Like if you want to be a doctor or an attorney or, you know what I mean? You have to stay in school. You have to learn about the body. You have to learn
Absolutely.
about the law, right?
Absolutely.
But aside from that, I just didn't see a need for it. I'm like, you know, I guess I was a bad kid, but I'm like by 8th grade, 9th grade, I'm like, hold up, where y'all got that money from? Well, we doing X, Y, and Z. And I was like, well, I'm going to do that because being, you know, it's just like Nipsey said in his verse, what do you say? How you going to reach him when he's making more than his teachers? Right. And that was my mentality back then. I was like, why am I sitting here listening to these teachers when I could go out of town and come back with 5 racks?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So that's what we do in that. I'm going to sit here and you're going to tell me about freaking history and I could go to Charlottesville and come back with 5 racks. Not happening. So I was like, where'd y'all get that money? And then that's how, you know what I mean? I was out of there. Like I was completely bored. I hated it. And then I was like a lot more mature than the kids around me. Right. So I was just like, I'm out of here. I don't like it. I hated this. I loathed the schedule. Like to this day, when I see commercials on TV right around August for back to school shit, it makes my skin crawl. To this day, if I'm watching TV and I see it's a back to school special, get your books and I fucking cringe. And I'm in my 40s. It still makes me cringe, the idea of filing in somewhere at 8 o'clock in the morning and leaving at 3 o'clock and doing it every single day. Like it makes me cringe. It makes me cringe.
Here's the thing. I understand.
But that's just me. That's just me.
But that's the point that I'm making. Most people, in my opinion, most kids should at the very least finish high school. Whatever you want to do after that, that's your business. I'm not one to sit here and say that college is for everyone because it's not. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You should have a certain degree of discipline. You should be studying you know what I mean, for a certain degree if you're going to go to college and expect to make something of it. Don't go for basket weaving or get a doctorate in fucking philosophy and think you can do something with it. You know what I mean? No,
Mm-hmm.
if you're going for engineering, if you're going for medicine and so on and so forth, great, wonderful. My highest degree of education was a bachelor's degree in you know what I mean, in college. Now, I say that to say that don't get it twisted. There's a lot of educated people that I met within the confines of college who are stupid as shit.
Oh,
So you can be educated and still be a fucking moron. Let's not get it twisted. What I was saying earlier was that, you know, you have adults on, you know what I mean, social media, and I was talking about, you know what I mean, the demographic that you were talking about, Jen, the 40-year-olds and 50-year-olds who have an issue comprehending what they're reading online. So you have adults who have comprehension issues. You have children who are being conditioned to basically continue that cycle. So something has to be done if we're going to be a nation that is able to compete, because right now we're not competing with anyone. We just got bigger guns than everyone. But outside of that, you know what I mean, we can't we you know what I mean, we have you know what I mean, the air of violence and so on and so forth that, you know what I mean, that's connected to America and so on. But as a land fertile with education and intellect and so on. We're not there right now.
Let me
right.
Let me just really quick say before you jump in, because I hear you sound like a lot of parents I hear when I was young. Just at least finish high school. That was a big thing. At least finish high school. Whatever you do, finish high school. Okay. Why? Tell me why.
Because one of the main reasons is number one, to go through the whole series of it. It shows a degree of discipline. It shows a degree of focus, and a lot of what you do learn up to high school level on a practical level, you can use on, you can grow with throughout life. Now, this is to also say that after you do that,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not one to say that you have to go to college. I'm not of that bracket. Because there's so many variables attached to that.
Okay, so do you think it's it shows discipline or indoctrination?
Well, I'm not going to be sitting here and talk about indoctrination and so on and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
I think that it shows discipline. I'm not all for rebellion just for the sake of fucking rebellion. There's some people who could be rebellious and they end up like you, but there's people who are rebellious who don't end up like you, who are on the fucking street. Now, you know what I mean?
No, and I totally agree. But specifically with school, like going back to how parents.
If it's a shitty school,
Mm-hmm.
that's a completely different situation. Now we got to talk. There's so many variables attached to it. You know what I mean? If it's a good school and you can actually gain something from actually graduating from this particular high school, then yes, finish it. Especially if I'm paying for it. You know what I mean?
No, let's stay on the discipline really quick.
Okay, cool, no problem.
Again, versus indoctrination.
Right.
If it goes back to kind of like what you said about how parents, it's a glorified babysitting thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let this kid go in there 9 to 5 the way I work, and that way they'll learn some discipline over there. If there wasn't a school system, how would your child learn discipline? They're not?
Oh, no. They would learn that in the home. But that's
Right.
another aspect of the point that I was going to make. That a lot of these issues that we're seeing right now, they can be corrected if a lot more parents got involved with their children in the home. If a lot of things were instilled in the home. Now, you and I, Jen, we come from a background where certain things were instilled in us in the home, where, yeah, okay, you don't want to go to school, you don't want to do whatever, you want to drop out. But there were still elements in you that made sure that you were disciplined enough to at least attach yourself to something that you liked, that you believed in, that you would be able to see through. You got these motherfuckers out here, they don't want to do some shit, and they just go out into the world and they just don't do anything.
Right, correct.
They just exist. And I'm not for that. You don't have to go, but have something.
Okay, so I want to ask you something, but I know you wanted to say something.
Well, I got a lot to say. First of all, I agree with Haran that, and like my first child is college bound. He's going to be taking 2 college courses next year in high school. I didn't have to push very hard. He's a very good student, very disciplined. My second child, not so much. He's smart, but like you and like me, when I was in school, didn't really care that much about school. But I tell him, listen, even this year, like, I don't know if he's going to pass this year. I said, but you're going to summer school. I said, and don't just give up, because you get these credits this year, and then you go to credit, you can catch up in the next 2 years. You might be able to skip a grade if you're not going to pass this year. But what I tell him is, your minimum, you got to get out of high school. Why? He said, why? He's saying discipline. I agree. Even that high school degree, like, I don't think he's going to, he hates school. So he's saying, I'm not going to college, right? That's fine. But even that high school degree let's say he goes and gets a high school degree, or let's say he takes the other route and gets a GED. The difference between that high school degree and that GED is the difference between being able to go, if he picks the military, the Air Force and the Army. The Army will take you with the GED. The Air Force will not take you with the GED. And if you know anything about the military, the Army, you're going to be on the front lines. You're going to be doing the shitty jobs. The Air Force, you have a lot more high-tech jobs. The Navy is very, very much like that too. So, but what I want to say about this, listen, the school I went to still exists today. It wasn't a great school, but I had the friends I sort of hung around the smart kids, even though I wasn't with the smart kids in the honors classes. Most of the people I know got to be pharmacists, got a chemical engineering degrees. They're all the people that were in the honor classes. There are opportunities, even probably in the school we saw, but not every kid's the same, like you're saying, Jen. Not every kid's the same. It's not, and it's a lot of variables. But what I'm going to say is, my kids, there are differences in school districts and school. Like you're saying, like it's not just the hood. I'm sure the white kids that were in that was probably shitty schools too, because the schools I moved exactly where I'm in a decent neighborhood, but I'm not by any means rich. I moved to where my kids were going to go to where the rich kids went to public school.
Mm-hmm.
And there is a sense of they don't put up with nonsense. They'll kick you out, but there's also, it's just different because, and I don't know if it's the parents or whatever, but there is a different expectation with people that are coming from a well-to-do area, a more wealthy area. It's a different, and you're not going to have to worry about like what I had to when I was in school. You had to worry about a lot of different things. I'm in the class where people are making jokes and throwing the ball, and when you go to a school that's in a better area, it's different. They don't put up with it, and the expectation of the kids are higher. Yeah. So, I mean, what I wanted to know is who broke the ankle and who, the teacher broke the ankle?
No, not this video, not these two.
Oh, okay.
It was two other people. This right here.
I want to re-go. I'm sorry. So even when I was in high school, we knew that in Germany, there was two different ways. You could go the college route or you could go the technical school route. And they knew by the 8th grade, by how you were doing in school, which route they were going to send you. Mm-hmm. And in this country, I don't know if it's the teachers unions, we don't invest a lot in the other careers, telling kids that, okay, we're going to send you to this route. This is, you're more of a, you're not college material. as Bobby Boucher's mom said, you're not college material. So, yeah. So, but yeah, they definitely send us to a one size fits all, which didn't work for me. But the opportunities, like I said, even in the bad school, even the school I went to, the opportunities, if the kids knew their direction, and not all kids know their direction, you can get an education that'll get you to college or get you to where you want to go. But so I don't know if a lot has changed. I just think we have cell phones.
I will say this, and I just want to say one thing. This is one of the reasons why discipline is so very important, especially for men. People can have different opinions about it. I'll tell you one thing. When you reach adult age, one of the funny things a lot of women are having right now, one of the issues that they have with the gentleman that they want to date is because if you really, really listen to a lot of the things and the issues that they have with a lot of the men out here, they don't present discipline. A lot of these guys are not disciplined. You go out there into the world. Okay, you don't want to be disciplined. Okay, what's your credit score looking like? You're gonna have to pay rent every month.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna have to pay a cell phone bill every month. You're gonna have to pay a light bill every month. You're expected to do this.
So you think that school? So you think that school does that? School.
Well, if we are going to sit here and question if school doesn't do it, you're gonna have to get that discipline from somewhere.
No, I'm asking you a question. So you think school provides someone being responsible?
Well, for some, I'm not going to say it definitely does, but it can if used correctly. But at the end of the day, this has to start at home, because if you're disciplined at home, you're going to exercise that in school. So this has to happen in the home. If you're just lax in the home, you know what I mean. You're not, you know what I mean. You're dead set against these kids doing homework and shit. I'm gonna tell you something that my mother did to me. I don't really tell people a lot of times. When I was younger, okay, and this is probably the reason why I am the way that I am now. When I was younger, my mother trained me to think, and one of the things that she did was before I could go outside. And this is when I was a kid. It was like maybe 9 or 10 years old. Before I could go outside, she gave me this big college level fucking book to read. She read the whole fucking book. And she said, "You're going to read up to X, Y, and Z pages. You're going to give me a book report on what you read. And if it pans out, you get to go outside." And I had to do that for like 2 summers. I had to do that. And that taught me, number one, that taught me critical thinking. That taught me how to, write correctly. And it also taught me discipline. I was able to take that discipline and transfer it not only to school, but instruments and so on and so forth, the things that I wanted to do with my life. I was able to take that focus and apply it to things that I wanted to do to ensure that I would be okay. Now, you have to have these things, and you don't see a lot of it right now. And if it's not going to come from the home, it has to come from somewhere. Because right now we got a bunch of undisciplined motherfuckers.
Okay, so going to what JB said, you didn't care because it's tailored to the college bound, not skilled workers or the arts. I agree with that wholeheartedly.
That is true.
Unless you're, again, that's why I say indoctrination. Unless you are, or unless you aren't someone that's okay with being a worker bee, part of the American society worker bee, you're going to hate school. If you are okay with being put into the bee line or the conveyor belt of being a worker bee in America, then I feel like school is for you, because in the workforce, you're gonna have to do the same shit. You gotta get up in the morning, 9 o'clock. Right? You get lunch at 12, just like school. Then we let you go around 3, 4, 5 o'clock, right? So it's literally, I don't know if it's the jail pipeline, but it's definitely the fucking workforce pipeline, right? You go to school 9 to 5 every day. Then you go to work 9 to 5 every day. We only give you 2 days off, right? In school and also in work, right? And that's why I was dead set against it mentally, even at a young age, because I was like, I'm not going to spend the rest of my fucking life 9 to 5ing for anybody. I can't see it. I can't fathom it. I can't think that I'm going to work 9 to 5 my whole life, get that 401k, retire, die, and you guys can use my leftover money to bury me. The idea alone of that is like, it's cringeworthy, but a lot of people, that's what they do in this country. I have all my relatives are doing that. One of my close relatives has been at the same job for 30 fucking years. That to me is so tragic, but it's so easy to fall into. I went to school 9 to 5. I got this job 9 to 5, and then I'm just going to get old and die. That to me is a tragic life. Now, with that said, they're very content. They're very content with that life because they're like, this is how life is supposed to be. I'm good. I love my kids. I love my husband. This is what we're supposed to do. Right. So it's good for them, but it's cringeworthy to me.
And that's fine. And that's fine because guess what? There needs to, I'm not sitting here saying that don't get me wrong. I'm not sitting here saying that I was in love with school. A lot of that stuff was boring as shit. But I knew, the importance of essentially paying the cost of doing business. And I did whatever I needed to do, and most of the time I was into other shit. But at the end of the day, Jen, you have to understand there has to be more people who are okay with that, because somebody's got to pick up my fucking garbage. Mm-hmm. Okay, somebody has to be okay with getting shot for fucking peanuts. I'm not doing it. You know what I mean? Somebody's got to be okay with doing all this other shit that I'm not doing. And it's a kudos to them. You know what I mean? It's a great living for them. It's their existence. But yeah, there's other people such as yourself and myself who want to do other things and shit in life and whatever. But if there were more people like that, a lot wouldn't get done.
I want to say something to what Haran said earlier. The regular, K through 12 is a lot to be desired in this country, but we do still have the most attractive universities in the world where people from other countries come and get their education here, because our universities are pretty sharp, and we still are a desirable place to brain drain other countries that get these educations, and that's what's keeping us afloat. Is we're importing
Absolutely.
brains. We are importing our brains, and we have our own. We still see some of the people that break through and we've been doing that a long time. We've been importing since Einstein and before. We've been importing guys. So, yeah. So that's another thing I wanted to say. But as far as what you're saying, Jen, I know what you mean. I've not been on a 9 to 5 schedule since I went into the military, and I don't know once I leave this job what I'm going to do, because when I first got here, they want you to kind of come in and learn, do your paperwork and everything. So I had to come here every day, every Monday through Friday for 2 weeks straight, every day, going back and forth in traffic. And I was like, I can't. I'm so glad I don't have a regular job where I have to stay, go every single day.
Imagine.
I do all my time in one sitting, so.
I had to drag myself into a life of having a regular job in my 30s, and I only did it because Zari was on the way. And Jen, I rode that starving artist shit till the fucking wheels fell off that motherfucker. I was like, fuck that job shit. But when she showed up, I'm like, oh man, I'm gonna have to get this health shit and these benefits and all this other shit. And I was
See,
like,
that's why I tell people don't get married, don't have children.
You know what I mean? That's why I only had one. That's why I only had one. I was like, hey, I'm only going to do this shit.
Oh, I only had one too. I was like, whoa, this is what, no. Time out. Wait a minute. They eat this much? They need this much clothes?
And they don't get cheaper. So I don't know how people have 5. I don't know how motherfuckers have like 5 or 6. I'm like, whoa.
There's this girl on my Facebook. I said something the other day. I was like, you guys are the real MVPs. You volunteer for hardship and bills. You people that have more than one day, you volunteer. You're like, I want more bills. Here you go. Give me some more bills. And she was like, oh, I have 6. I was like, what the
Look,
fuck
listen,
you doing
man.
with 6
I would literally fight my wife. Be like, get off of me, yo. Get the fuck off of me, yo. Get off of me, yo. Get off.
3. She said 3 out of the house and 3 teenagers. And it's a hardship. It's like volunteering for hardship. I cannot do it.
Like, how much is the average kid? Like what, 100 grand? 100, 200 grand? From 1 to 18? From 1 to 18, they said? Don, what's the numbers on that?
I thought it was $17,000 a year. Am I wrong?
No, maybe.
To raise a kid? It's not $17,000 a year?
I think something like that. But I'm talking about from up to 18. I think it was like 100 grand.
Oh, you mean like
grand. Yeah, the accumulation
18.
The accumulation.
And what you find in these countries around the world that are having a population decline is they go from a agricultural, where you have free labor, to realizing that kids are a pain in the ass and a drain on the resources. So people have less and less kids, the more developed the country becomes developed, where you don't have to rely on your kids to take care of you when you get older, allegedly.
200K. 200K. Don was like 300K. That must be damn sure my kid.
It's funny because she had mentioned that. She was like, oh, I'll have people to take care of me. I'm like, fuck that shit.
I mean, I can literally pay for somebody to do that, man.
I'm like, by the time, honestly though, listen, by the time you're ready to check out, I mean.
So if you have 6, wait a minute. So if that's 6 kids, she's going to spend. So she's going to spend $2 million.
If it's $300K to raise a kid, if it's $300K, then that's now ask riddle me this, Batman. But riddle me this, Batman. Will she ever be a fucking millionaire? No. But you're spending millions to no. I had one and I was done.
Know, if she pushes her kids towards some guy's door, he might become a millionaire.
Too soon.
Way too soon, bro.
No,
that was funny though.
That was very George Cook of you. That was very George Cook of you.
Oh my God.
I had 6 of you bastards. When are you going to get a couple of million?
I'm thinking, like, son of a bitches don't even finish high school. At least
But look,
let me get something out of me.
but again, listen, one of my relatives has 5. And then that eldest is always burdened with the you're the step parent and this shit. Go pick
My
them
boy,
up, go do this, help them eat, clean them up, this and that. Yeah, it's
my boy got 8.
no.
I remember when they announced the 8th one, everybody it was just a silence in the room. Like, what are you doing, man? Like,
Some people are good at breeding. Some
he
people are.
he was just like a bus driver, and he was just like, I'm not trying to career shame, but like, bro.
This right here, speaking of going back to that crazy ass fight, this right fucking here. And that's why schools are so messed up. Schools are expected to correct societal issues like parents that can't afford their kids. It's funny because I said that
That's a very good point. No, that's a very good
before.
point.
I said that before. If you are continuing to push them out, right? Now you have to work real fucking hard to maintain these children. You're not going to have it in you to look at their schoolwork every day. You're not going to have it in you to check on who their friends are. Speaking of, I don't know if you saw that footage in Chicago and Baltimore and Los Angeles over the fucking weekend when these kids were out running the streets, not in dozens, hundreds. If I am lying, I'm flying. Google it.
I remember
okay. Google Chicago, the mobs, 2 days in a row, hundreds of kids breaking cars, windows, bullying tourists, 2 days straight in Chicago. They did it in Los Angeles. Mobs of kids, all teenagers. I mean, they got their face all on the camera. Mobs of teenagers running into stores, taking shit. They did it in Baltimore. Now, if I said before, if you got hundreds of kids out in the street looting, fighting, that's hundreds of parents that don't know where the fuck their children are. Do you hear that number? That means that hundreds of parents don't know where those kids are, what they're doing. So that goes to show, back to what JB said, these people are having children that they can't keep track of, that they can't afford. So then they got to go break their ass to make money, to make $300,000 to raise these children. I just, it's nonsensical. Hundreds of kids in the street looting. That means hundreds of parents don't know where the fuck they are. Hundreds.
You know, there's a CVS in New Orleans right now that has nothing on the shelf. They come in, and if you want deodorant, they will go to the back and get deodorant for you because there's too much stealing going on. So they just said, okay, you can go look at the price tags. You can tell me what you're looking for, and I'll go get it for you.
Yo, in New Jersey, all the toiletries are locked up. Oh, in CVS, I gotta call somebody for fucking deodorant. I gotta call somebody for fucking shampoo. You know what I mean? All the toiletries are locked up, man.
Yeah, it's just getting nuts. But I'm like, that's what I was thinking. Like everybody, you know, there was a lot of property damage. The cops had to go out there. Like it was literally a riot. And people were saying it was a TikTok trend. It started on TikTok.
Mob, like the flash mob. They were doing that a while back too.
Right. So it's like, you know, if it is China, like Trump says, you know what I mean? And here's the thing. People are like, oh, it's a TikTok trend as teenagers. You don't know who threw out that trend. You could be anybody on these machines. You literally could be anybody on these. You could be law enforcement. You could be anybody in these machines saying, hey, we're going to do a trend. Let's do a flash mob and go steal shit and break cars. You don't know who's saying it. You don't know who's starting it. You have no idea. But hundreds. And I said, listen, you better know where your kids are this summer because people are going to protect their property.
Look, listen. Yeah, some one of y'all kids going to get shot in the head and y'all ain't going to get 2 million.
Or 3.
Well, 3.
Or 3. or 3.
Look, listen, there's just the common theme, and we're both kind of talking but we're both going in this. We're all three of us are going in the same direction. The problem is the home. The home is the problem, and it's the decisions being made in the home. As a human being, as a person, okay, if you're having a gang of kids, you can't pay attention to all these motherfuckers, man. You can't pay attention to all these motherfuckers, man.
That's my point.
There's
That's
like
my
six or
point.
seven of these motherfuckers, you know what I mean? And whatever, you know what I mean? Like the other day, somebody was angry that Nick Cannon forgot one of the kids' names. It's like 12 of them.
I saw it.
Like, what are you talking about?
I saw it.
I was shocked you remember 11.
I saw it.
Should have taken the George Foreman route and named all his kids George Foreman.
Hello. and then his baby mother, she released her on Instagram. She was like, you know what? When things happen, you just have to keep going. I was like, bitch, shut the fuck up. You got a cash register, baby. Let's keep it 100. Knock it off. You don't give a damn that man forgot your kid's name long as that fucking child support clears. Shut up.
Jen, I
and
will
that's
say
another thing too. Go ahead.
No, as you said, Jen, I will say something. You're saying like it is much. What I do know about school right now, it is much easier to keep track of what your kids are doing grade wise because it's all on a computer. You can log in on the website and say, "Oh, why'd you get this 0? What's going on?"
It's not the 0.
Yeah, it wasn't like when I was a kid where we don't have homework.
Right. Like, yeah. But the question though, here's the thing, and I have to do the research on this. Are a number of these issues happening in public schools or private schools?
It's got to be. I would assume mostly
public schools.
Yeah.
So here's the thing, like, are we willing to admit that if we want a solid life in America and beginning from the genesis of education, if you want a solid life for your child in America, you have to pay a premium?
I mean, it depends. Like, I know a lot of people I work with that pay. It's like a college tuition to send their kid to private school. I chose a place to live where they're going to get a decent education from a public school. So but not everybody has that choice. So that's
what I'm saying. Yeah, I'm saying like on average, it's either you have the money to send your kid to a school that's either good or great, or you gotta just send them to public school and it's most likely a shitty environment. Which, in a sense, is a glorified babysitting factory. Essentially, you're essentially dropping your kid off, and you're coming back to get them after your work.
Yeah, and which then you have to hope that your kid has a direction, or you can put him in the direction to get what he can get out of that school, which is the kind of school I went to, where, like I told you, if you had a direction, and you could come out of there and do well. But
you see the point. See, you just said something right there. No, saying that is another point that I'm making. You got involved with your children's learning. Mm-hmm. You got involved. A lot of these parents are not getting involved. Right. They only get involved on parent-teacher night, and when they show up on parent-teacher night, they're thinking that their kid is being fucking attacked, half the time. So it's a defensive, abrasive, environment for everybody, and nothing gets done. And then when your child reaches a certain age and they don't know shit, and you realize that they don't know shit, then it's the American education system. Is it? Or did you have opportunities to get involved, but you chose not to? Or maybe you put yourself in a situation where it was impossible for you to get involved. That
right there. It's like when sometimes I feel like I'm on the wrong fucking planet. I was like, y'all dropped me off here by mistake, right? Because like, this whole thing with critical race theory, and they're pulling the books out to school. They pulled the Roberto Clemente book out of school. How is we gonna learn about our heroes, right? I'm like, so there no Amazon on your phone, no Barnes and Nobles by you, ma'am? No.
I mean,
So if
kids don't go to the library anymore,
if
like for like
they
field trips.
no, but I'm
Like,
saying that the parents were mad that they're pulling these quote unquote black heroes, you know what I mean? Roberto Clemente
mhm.
is Puerto Rican. It's like, look what they're doing to us. They're pulling our books out. Our kids are not gonna so I'm sorry, ma'am. You can't go to Barnes and Nobles or go on Amazon if you want your child to know about their history and their black and Puerto Rican heroes. You can't fucking get on your fucking phone that you're on all day and go to Amazon and get you some books about some activists. You can't do that. So if they pull them out of the school library, your hands are tied. And that's why I'm like, the fucking thing on the plane. Do you not see the fucking on the fucking wing? Do you
But
not see what's happening? Why are look what they're doing in a systemic oppression and you can't fucking go and buy a book. You weren't even thinking about Roberto Clemente until you heard they may or may not be pulling it off a fucking shelf, lady. You know it and I know it. You weren't thinking about Roberto Clemente.
Jen, here's the thing. Here's a solid point that you're making. Let's just call it what it is. When we were growing up in New York in the 80s and the 90s, none of these schools taught us about fucking slavery. None of these fucking schools. It was like a blurb on Martin Luther King. You know what I mean? None of them taught us about Malcolm X. None of them taught us about any of these things. We had to find out about that shit on our own. We went out there and found that shit out. And then when we found that shit out and we came back to the schools and we basically said, hey, wait a minute, man. Y'all motherfuckers been lying to us. You said yada yada and this and the third. And then it was like, oh no. But it says here that this is what happened. You
Oh,
know what I mean? Like,
I didn't do that at all. No,
oh,
so
I
I'm not
did.
even. I didn't give because I didn't give a fuck
I
about
was
school.
kind of
I didn't
spoiled
see
actually.
them. Yeah, I didn't see them like as like, oh, you're the one that's gonna teach me the way of life. Like I didn't give a fuck what them teachers were talking about. To be quite honest, I'm
From
like, I can count, I can read, I got reading comprehension. I'm
yeah,
out of here.
and let me tell you something. In Haran, back when we were in school in Haran, you know, it was much more difficult. Like you said, you had to go and actively seek it. You don't know. I love history. I love learning things. YouTube, there's no reason you can't find out anything.
Absolutely.
YouTube, it's right there, the
Absolutely.
internet. So I mean, it wasn't like when we were in school where if they just didn't teach it, like I would find something like I know what you're saying. I can't think of the example right now, but like
Mm-hmm.
I'd say I had no idea that happened.
Mm-hmm.
It's like wow, they didn't teach me that in school, but they're not going to. It's impossible for them to teach you everything anyway.
Of course.
But
Of course.
with the internet, I
That's
mean,
why we
it's
have
just
curriculums.
yeah.
I mean,
So
I think it's so silly when people they're so I see why we need schools because people are cattle. Like people are fucking the
You gotta have
majority of
cattle.
people, right? I mean, the majority of people are cattle. Like not all, some, but the majority. Because I'm like, when I hear something like that, when I hear something like, oh, "Did you hear they're pulling the books off the shelf? How will we learn
Right.
about black? Oh, look what they're doing." I'm like, are y'all serious? Like I saw these debates online happening and I'm like, y'all really serious? The thought never even occurred to you, oh, you're pulling that out as well, this is something I'd like my kid to know. So I'm gonna go to the bookstore and get these books for my kid because I'm not gonna depend on someone to teach my kid what I want my kid to know. Like that, I was like, so, wow, y'all never thought about that. That's so
the
interesting
two
to me.
the two most fascinating books that I read when I was in grade school were Fahrenheit 451 and Animal Farm. Fahrenheit 451, one of the reasons why it was fascinating was that the premise of the book was that there were firemen who in that world didn't behave like the firemen that we have in our world. Firemen in that world, their job was to burn books. Their
That's
job
funny.
was to burn books, you know what I mean? And if you go deeper into it, the reason why they were burning the books is because what the premise of the book was trying to teach you was that information can be dangerous to those who are in power. But those who are in power, they destroy information in order to control those who are being controlled. That
Mhm.
was the premise of the book. An animal farm, what it taught was that um, you had the animals who were basically being controlled by this farmer who was a tyrant and so on and so forth. So they run the farmer out, and the animals take control of the farm. So the pigs, everybody basically agrees that it's going to be socialism. It's going to be a socialistic society where everything's fair and everybody gets what they want. But the pigs, one of the pigs, who was an evil pig, I guess you can say, got into power, and it became the same society was before, capitalistic. It became very tyrannical and so on and so forth. Actually became worse. But the point of that book was that human nature is always going to move in the way that it moves, no matter who's in charge. We like to tell ourselves that we need to replace the boss. Do we? Or do we need to understand that no matter who's in charge, they're just going to do the same shit that the other guy is going to do? And in a way, they were explaining American government.
So let's see this. Oh, thank you for the super chat, Tone LeBon. Books. When was the last time you saw a kid sitting around reading? Damn. That's damn.
What's a book?
Damn. I always see them on their phone. That's still true. The last time I saw a kid reading a book, well, I sent my grandbaby some books.
Well, they'll read. Oh no, they read. They'll read the fuck out of an angry text message. That shit'll be this long. That motherfucker will sit there and they'll read that shit. They read what they're interested in.
I sent my grandbaby some books because he loves dinosaurs, and there's a company that puts your name and makes it in the book throughout the book.
Jen, can I ask you something? Do you believe in dinosaurs?
I do. If my grandbaby says they exist, they exist.
Cool.
Whatever he says exists, that's it. JB says, I don't even have 40% of my parents show up for conferences. That is a lot. It's probably the parents of the mobs.
The fuck?
Those are the parents of the mobs.
Can we circle back into the beatdown that
I wanted to play it again real quick before we close so we could discuss it and wrap it up. Kyrie's Crib says, when I was a kid, I wouldn't think about fighting a teacher. My parents would have sided with the teacher. Teacher would have had to set it on me for something my dad did for it to be okay. Yeah, like, there's no respect now. These kids feel equal to the teacher. Like, you ain't gonna say that to me. You ain't talking. Oh, my mama, give me my phone back. It's not. I see why they're quitting. It's not worth it to me, and the pay isn't worth it. Like, I'm not gonna deal with 10 banshees up in here for that type of pay either. It's just I understand. It's gonna get harder and harder too to hire teachers for that pay. They're gonna have to up the pay. Let's see this video and then we'll get your take. No Saint. This shit was wild as fuck.
Get to see a little booty again.
Okay.
That's why you want to see it again. Don't say it over there like, I just want to dissect this a little bit more.
Let's check again. Couple of more. Jen, can you zoom in?
Right there.
We're gonna watch this go. Whoop that trick. Okay, let me calm down. But I was like, get her. And then I was like, no, that's not right. Teachers and students shouldn't be fighting. But I was like, get her little ass. Get a chair.
Why does the rules not apply to everybody else? That's my phone. No, you did not keep nobody else's phone. And you finna give me my shit. Don't touch me. That's on my mom. Don't touch me. Girl, don't touch me. Girl, don't touch me.
Get a t-shirt.
Somebody get a fucking teacher. Get a fucking teacher. Get a fucking teacher. Get a fucking teacher. Get a teacher. Get a teacher. Somebody get a teacher. I don't give a fuck. Get out. Get a teacher. 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 Y'all just gonna sit here and watch. Get a teacher. What the fuck is wrong with y'all?
You say you all gonna sit here and watch it? Whoop my ass. What's wrong with you?
She's like, help me. Somebody help me. This bitch
You the one who swung on it off.
I know.
She crazy. Help.
Yo, did y'all see? Did y'all hear the little dude on the side talking about get a teacher, get a teacher? You get a teacher.
Yeah.
You want to stay at our ass? That's what you doing. You know what I'm saying?
Now he was recording. He had a job.
This is going
He was like,
viral.
right. He was like, I ain't missing this shit. World star.
I don't know if that was the same dude who was recording. I don't know. To me, that could have been the dude next door. That could have been the dude next door. You know what I mean?
Listen. I'm surprised that he even said it because most kids are just laughing and recording. So for him to even say get a teacher is a lot in that classroom where everybody's probably in shock and laughing or whatever.
Had some squabbles though. That teacher had some squabbles on him.
Yeah, I mean, and she did not. I commend it. I tell you, I wouldn't have fired the teacher. If I could help it, like I wouldn't have fired her. I'd have been like, she got attacked. Right? She got attacked. What do you want me to do? That's how I would be in my principal's office. What the fuck you what? She got attacked. What the fuck? Get out of my office. Bring my coffee. Like no. This woman, this girl swung on her, and I would have also took into account she did not whoop her like she could have. She pinned her down. Okay, she pinned her down. She could have whooped that little trick.
She could have whooped
her. She could have really, really hurt that girl.
So this is the thing. Like, I'm glad it was a substitute teacher because my first thought was, man, you gotta, as a professional, you need to be able to restrain yourself even in that situation. Like, I realized the young lady swung, and so it was a little bit less bothersome that it was a substitute teacher because that's not her, it's not her full-time job, hopefully. But on the other side of it, that is a lesson in life. There's a few lessons in life for that lady, the young lady that wanted her cell phone. First of all, the world's not fair. And because she didn't take somebody else's cell phone doesn't mean she's not going to take your cell phone. It doesn't work like that. It just doesn't work like that. That's the problem. Whataboutism. Well, what about that? Well, I didn't see that. I saw you. You're in trouble. You're the one that's going to lose your phone. Second thing is that you may think you're in a safe space and you might not be in a safe space because I don't think because looking at it, I'm like, what would she think? Like, that lady is like, at least 2 times her size. What was she thinking? That wasn't going to
at least 50 pounds.
At least.
And there's a difference between a 16-year-old strength and a
grown woman
man strength. There's a lot of difference. And so she learned a lesson, and maybe it'll teach her, that she might want to think about things before she decides to get in somebody's space. So I'm with you, Jen.
You with me? Come on, I'll say, whoop that trick.
I'm kind of with you, as in, like, God, man, you want to see an adult be an adult, but at the same time, you're like, I'm not sorry. I mean, it's not, it's not, I'm not losing my job. I'm not losing my job over it. But yeah, you would like to see the adult come out, but at the same time, you think, well, maybe this person needs to get her ass whipped,
I always say, what do I always say? You may have a plan, maybe a good plan. You never know what the other person's plan is. And these kids are out of control. I was reading, a teacher on Facebook was talking about this incident, and she was like, she made an interesting point how these kids are addicted to these phones. Like, she was trying to get that phone, right? Where in my age in school, and teachers have taken shit from me before. This teacher brought in an alarm clock one time from me. She was like, here, you're always late. This will help. Like, literally gave me an alarm clock, right? My time in school was quite interesting, right? But she made a good point that these kids are addicted to these phones. At my age, what did they tell you? You got to bring your mother in to get your Walkman back. Yes, I'm aging myself. Come back, get your Walkman, right? Come back, get this CD player, get your parents to come in here and get this phone. But she had to have that phone versus just, you know what I mean, going to the office, calling her mom, saying, Mom, they took my phone. She wanted to fight this behemoth that doesn't wear drawers or half drawers in school. You really want to, you want to squabble?
You got nothing to lose. She ain't got
I mean, looking at that lady, she looked like, bitch, this isn't my real job. She has pink hair.
Yeah, right.
She literally looked like, okay, Magic City at night, substitute teacher in the day.
Give her credit, because most substitute teachers wouldn't have gave a fuck about the phone either. Like, do what you want to do. I'm here just for the paycheck. You know what I mean? I'm here babysitting, you know?
Yeah.
But that you made me think. That's what I'm talking about, the differences in certain schools depending on where you're at and where you're living. Because I remember my son that's an honor student, and he texted me to come get him one day, and he was inside. It was during exams. Well, they don't let you out. I didn't know this. They don't let you out during exam day early. But he's like, the principal or the disciplinarian came out, and he's like, he said, "Yo, we don't let him out." I said, "Oh, because he just texted me." He's like, "What? He texted you?" He's like, I was like, "Yeah," and I started like kind of like, well, I was like, "Oh shoot, I got him in trouble." I was like, "Well, yeah," but I mean, I was like, "He's a good kid." He's like, "Let him know it's a warning. I better not find it, because they will kick you out, man. It ain't they don't play at that school." And that's what I'm saying. It's just expectations in certain schools, like someone put in there, like in the private schools you're paying to go to, right? And the public school gets everybody else. So some people don't have the same, it's not there's just not the same expectations. So you're getting everybody. And so you're going to have stuff like that. But I mean, like I said, there is a difference. You can see differences in schools, the way they treat, that teacher shouldn't have been really put in that position. And
JB says she will definitely get fired. And I'm sure she can go work somewhere else. But I feel bad for her again, because I'm like, go to
the gym and work as a boxing instructor.
Yeah, I'm always on the side of the person that was minding their business at their job. I will always take the side of the person that was minding their business at their job. Always.
Doing their job. She was doing her job.
Right. She was doing her job. But I got into stuff with my teachers, but I couldn't fathom swinging at a teacher. Like, I would just get sent to the principal's office, to the point where my principal, Mr. Green, I'll never forget, he was like, "Why don't you just start bringing me coffee? You here every morning." I was like, I don't like your attitude. He was like, you should start bringing me my coffee. What happened now?
That sounds like it should be on you, porn. Not you, Jen, just the situation.
I remember this dude, he swung on this my coach, one of the school coaches. The school coach was like 6'2", like twice my size. And he got into it with him, and he swung on him, man. And we all just looked at him when his head hit the pavement, man. We just hope he would be the same after his head hit that pavement, because dude grabbed him it was just effortless, man. He just grabbed him by the shoulder, put him in the lock, and just threw him over, man. And homie was just out of there, like immediately. He was out. I would love to be a fly on the wall when that girl is talking to her parents. I would love to see the reaction, because she did swing on that teacher for that phone. I would love to hear what her parents think about her behavior. Got to follow them home to find out what's going on, because that shit was absolutely fucking. Well, Jen, ridiculous. You got to look at it like this. A lot of times, parents, they side with the kid,
of course, because if they don't side with the kid, then they have to admit that you suck as a parent. Right. You're a really bad fucking parent. A lot of parents don't really want to face that. Another thing too is that when kids are in
public schools when kids are in private schools as opposed to public schools,
Mm-hmm.
there's money involved, there's politics involved, so on and so forth. So if your kid's a problem child, that shit is going to follow your kid. And everyone who's in that private school circle, the people who got money and the people who shake hands and make sure that your kid goes to this college and that college, everyone's going to be like, oh yeah, that's the kid over there who does this, that, and the third. Keep him out.
Chris Rock spoke about that. Did you see his last special? He spoke about that. About
no, money. When you get involved in money in America, that's a different network.
Mm-hmm.
Money in America is completely different from public, which is socialism in a sense, and socialistic opportunities. The trash. They don't want to tell you that, but it's considered the trash. They don't give a fuck if your kid doesn't know anything. They don't give a fuck what happens to your kid or whomever. You know what I mean? But when you're in the money circles, they keep that shit tight. You know what I mean?
Chris Rock spoke about that. One of his daughters got in trouble at her school for doing some shit, and it was like a big to do in his family.
I can imagine.
And it's a big like, oh my God. She was like, no. He was like, you're gonna get expelled, blah blah. Like, interesting. Anyway, that fight was some. I hope the teacher finds something else to do. You know what I mean? Maybe go substitute teach at another school. That was fucked up.
I don't think you're going to hear of it. I think there's going to definitely be some repercussions one way or the other if it's a lawsuit or if she's going to be taken in, because it is still beating up on a minor. I mean, there still is that. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's the last we've heard of it.
Or the last fight in a classroom. Because when I was searching this, so many teacher-student fights came out. I was like, oh my God, so this is just the latest. A lot of teacher-student fights came up. I was like, oh, see, no. Mm-mm.
In the end, I hope she lands on her feet. She is
But she looking good on them knees. But she look good on them knees.
I mean, just saying, she's a very attractive woman, so she has options. She has options out here. I'll leave it at that. You know what I mean? Oh, she's got real options, so she'll be okay.
No Saint was like, roll that beautiful bean footage.
Like, look, listen. If she lived close to my area, I'll be like, yeah, so tell me what happened. Like,
stay away.
You know what I mean? Take it out. Like, tell me what happened.
She back at the strip club. Like, fuck this shit, man.
She got access for it. Like, literally.
Yeah, fuck this shit, man. Just get. She's never going back now. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know what she does. Just kidding. All right, guys. So we are out of here. We are close again to another Block Talent Battle. I'm so excited. If you're watching Saturday, 8 p.m. Eastern on the block, pull up with your talent, $100 cash prize. You have to compete with other people. We will judge. The audience in the chat will vote for you. We have a front runner from last Saturday's show. I think she's going to win unless a miracle happens. So we'll announce the winner for our first Block Talent Battle this Saturday. And then the talent will compete once again. So you guys want to tune in for that. Don, he says she'll be on OnlyFans before the end of the week. The teacher that can fight.
Right. Look, that's an option, man. That's an option for. That's a real option for.
Haran, leave her alone, Haran. Leave her alone, okay? She was there for a reason. Okay, she's trying to turn her life around. She's trying to do the right thing. And this little motherfucker went and fucked up her whole program. Ooh, please, if you're a teacher, wear panties. JB, wear whole panties. No, we got a teacher in the chat. Wear whole panties because you never know when you may be on all fours with these kids. Shit.
Oh my Jesus.
All right. With that said, fellas, we are out of here. See you tomorrow.
Good night.
Good night. All right, guys, if you're still here for any reason, please hit that like and subscribe for me. Don't forget to support the show, Cash App on the Block with Jen. We will see you tomorrow. Please don't forget about Block Talent battle. Hit me on the block with Jen at Gmail and send me a picture and what your talent is. You don't have to send me a video of your talent. Send me a picture, okay? And your talent so I know what you're doing on Saturday. And we will see you here tomorrow, regular day on the block, and then block talent battle on Saturday. Good night, guys. Have a good night. Enjoy your night. See you mañana.